Before HYP was even an idea, Marcus and Yuriy were just two kids in love with sneakers and the HYP culture.
My name is Marcus Scharf. I'm one of the founders of Hយ៉P Miami. I would say I fell in love with sneakers probably when I was pretty young, like 12, 13 years old. I was definitely influenced by, I would say, more so basketball culture than anything, specifically Nike basketball shoes. So a lot of people that got into sneakers were either usually coming from skate culture or basketball culture. For me, it was really basketball.
I was probably like 16, 15, and I never really fell in love with the sneaker, but I just couldn't afford them, and my parents would never buy them. You know, I saw kids wearing them, and I always had some clearance sale Marshall sneakers on. Just something that I always wanted I couldn't get.
They started hustling and trading kicks before they were even old enough to drive.
So I was about 14 years old when I first sold my first sneaker. I was collecting sneakers or just buying sneakers before then, but there was only a certain extent that my parents would buy me sneakers, and I would basically buy sneakers. The profit that I made from it, I would use to buy my own pair.
I started with sneaker botting. So what sneaker botting is you use software to buy the product directly from the retailer. Most sneaker resellers, what they do is they either go in store, buy a sneaker, and then resell it to someone else, or they just buy it from someone like me and resell it to the next person or like a store. I was one of the only few sneaker resellers I knew that started that way.
The first pair of shoes I ever sold, I believe, was a pair of Yeezy Foamposites in the solar colorway. It was, I don't even remember how much, probably around $300.
The first big ticket item was actually a Supreme North Face jacket. So it wasn't even a sneaker.
Probably years later, after that first shoe I sold, because I continued to run my business myself, flipping sneakers, selling sneakers in bulk. But I met Yuriy randomly through my family, actually. He met my dad first. Randomly, he complimented his shoes, and he mentioned, of course, that he got them from me. I get my dad all his shoes.
He was wearing a pair of, I think it was a Yeezy boot 750s, like the OG Yeezy boot, the black ones. And I complimented his shoes, and he's like, oh, I got them for my son or something like that. And so we connected on Instagram through his dad.
He literally messaged me on Instagram, and we got straight to business.
Their love for the HYP culture took them on a path to success they never expected.
I ended up in Miami for college. I was running my business at the time during college out of my 400 square foot college dorm, literally, because we had the warehouse in Philadelphia. I realized when I was in college, I wasn't really interested in doing what everyone else was doing. And I kind of had a moment where I was like, oh, okay, this can be my full thing. I'm making a lot of money right now with it. I can continue to grow it. Why would I do anything else if it's already working? So that's when the idea for HYP was born, because I wanted to do something that was more than just flipping sneakers and making money, but rather build a brand, build a physical storefront with a physical presence and an online presence also.
HYP began as a vision in Coconut Grove, where sneaker culture met streetwear in a small local boutique.
Since we come from wholesale, it's very different. And going into retail, I really underestimated how different and difficult it is. There's numerous examples, but I think the one big one is you don't really see growth right away because you're building a brand. With wholesale, I can buy inventory one day, sell it the next day, wire in, wire out. I see instant returns.
I just turned 19 when HYP opened in Coconut Grove. I never even worked in a retail store, let alone owned one, so I didn't know how anything worked. Me and Yuriy were there every single day, obviously, from the very beginning, learning how everything goes. I mean, there's so much more to having a storefront than just buying and selling shoes. All I knew before was how to hustle, how to flip stuff, how to ship stuff out. That was it. There was nothing much to it, but a store, there's so many other things, obviously, including, it's a retail facing business. So you got customer service, you got to deal with people on a daily basis. People are not always the easiest, dealing with contractors in terms of just building out the store itself. Like, we were pretty much there until 3 a.m. making sure everything was ready for the grand opening date.
When we initially opened in Coconut Grove, we noticed that during COVID, a lot of stores opened. So Marcus and I knew that, we really had to stick out and focus on community, stick out on social media, just be different.
The physical location helped a lot with building a community, because a lot of sneaker stores open typically in malls. It's not very much a community. I would say malls are very commercial. People are just kind of going in and out to get what they need. Whereas where we opened in the heart of a super, super amazing community of Coconut Grove, of Miami.
Working at the original Hype store was really cool because it was in my neighborhood. I grew up, Coconut Grove area. And one of the prominent areas there being the Cocoa Walk specifically. That first day, I was like on my regular weekend stroll. Like I was like kind of shopping a little bit. And I walk in and it's like a big thing. Like I see Marcus, I see some of the older people, some of their friends like Griffin and them, like I see Yuriy. They don't remember the encounter either. Like they literally don't remember. And I like remember it to the T.
The original was very cool. It was a vibe. It was literally like 5 minutes away from campus. I wasn't too used to the Grove, despite me going to UM, but it was cool. A lot of cool people. At first, I thought I was applying for like a little summer job, you know, because obviously I was still in school at the time. But as I continued to grow with the brand, I saw the vision and I decided to take a leap of faith and take a higher position for Hype and contribute to its success and growth.
The brand grew like pretty fast, to be honest. Marcus and them were very eventful in the beginning. Like they did a lot of events, like art bays and stuff like that. They had a lot of people come through and collab with them. So it grew rapidly due to the fact that we were bringing a lot of people from the community and outside.
It was interesting because I was there, I would say probably religiously every day from like 10 o'clock to like 8 p.m. for the first, I don't know, 3-4 months at least of us being open. Obviously we had to, we didn't even have employees. We didn't even have a damn desk. I mean, I remember we had everything in the store, like the inventory, and we had just these like 2 chairs from Home Depot that we would sit on in the back. Me and Yuriy would be on our laptops doing whatever else, like on the back end thing. We were still setting up all the business structure and you know, bank accounts and everything. We were just working on our computers in the back together, just next to each other on these like, yeah, it was a grind for sure.
We had like goals for the first 2 months. And after 2 months, we're like, you know, it's slow, it's different. We hired a bunch of employees in the beginning that we no longer with us because we let them go after a few weeks. You know, we just needed employees quick. It was tough. It was like, nothing was rewarding. And we would just like sit there, me and Marcus, and grind on our laptops without a desk or anything, doing wholesale because that was our bread and butter. That what kept us afloat.
Yeah, the first few months was definitely rough. I mean, there was days where we wouldn't even have one sale. That was definitely the most demoralizing thing I think ever happened to me. Just sitting in the store all day and not one person bought anything. Once we actually had our own store and in our specific market over the first few months, we were able to understand what the consumer wanted, what the consumer didn't want. So that helped us trying more stuff out, like clothing, because we didn't even expect clothing to be a big part of our business, but it definitely showed that it was.
So after the first few months, we realized that we can't just rely solely on foot traffic. We really have to think of creative ways to just show who we are and become popular that way. So we first started focusing really on Instagram. Then we started a YouTube series after a few months. And you know, after I'd say about 3 months of doing YouTube, not even, maybe like a month or 2, people started coming in because they knew us from YouTube and not from just like the store in the Grove. So that was like super, you know, rewarding.
That was mostly inspired by my dad. He always preached that from the time I started. I mean, he's been my inspiration in business in general. For those that don't know, I guess my dad's a high-end watch and jewelry dealer. He started doing social media a few years back and he had a lot of success very quickly with it. And he told me that document everything, document the process, put yourself out there on the internet and you will see the business come back to you in the long run.
As Hype grew, it found its new home in Brickell, an area known for its fast-paced and luxury culture.
Only had a few months left in our lease. We're looking to renew. Our landlord told us that we'd be able to stay there, potentially even expand into the next location because we were definitely outgrowing the space very quickly as well. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. We kind of were left with 2 months to figure out what we're gonna do with our store because we had to leave.
We decided on Brickell because how crazy it is here. The foot traffic is here. You know, South Beach was not an option, even though it's super popular. And then Wynwood, it was oversaturated. And Brickell was, you know, there was no competition.
We moved and built a new sneaker store in less than 2 months. I was mainly concerned about like everything we did in that past year was gonna be put to waste because we kind of lost that momentum. I don't think we necessarily did. We may have done it for a temporary period of time. I mean, we were closed for about 2 months. So, I mean, we grinded for a whole year, built our name up, but then we had to close for 2 months. So in my opinion, that's change in momentum. And I was super worried that just like all the progress we made for our brand and everything would go to waste by moving to a completely different location. That definitely wasn't the case. We bounced back very quickly. The biggest challenge again is making a name for yourself in a new place.
You get a lot more tourism. It's a younger crowd here, people in their 20s with money. It's less families, but we knew we had to double our sales from last year because it's such a competitive. Brickell is so small. The foot traffic here is insane. Our average order spend, like like, you know, went up a significant amount compared to the previous store. We knew we had to be the best, and you know, if you're not doing well, they're gonna look on to the next person.
Brickell is just, dude, it's the center of all influencers, all younger, wealthier people. You never even know who walks in. So you get a lot of high-end clients, get a lot of famous people that you gotta attend to, people who are more knowledgeable in the sneaker industry. They know about StockX and they start complaining about market comparisons, and they don't understand. There's a lot of factors that contribute into what we bring to them, whether it's authenticity, quality, and exclusivity. Just adapting to that, and it's been really cool. A lot that contributed to our growth in our social media presence, online presence.
It's definitely fast. It's definitely like new people all the time because we're slap in the middle of Brickell, one of the main places in Miami, so it's a lot of different clientele.
I think being here, I mean, this is literally the content capital of the world. It's crazy to say that, but a lot of people literally travel here just to make videos, and it's literally in our backyard. So it helped us with the content side of things, getting our face out there on the internet. Like I said, Coconut Grove had that more local community vibe to it. We're in the middle of a city. It's a little different. I think we have developed our own little community here with the people that live here, with the people that visit here. Everyone that comes to Miami usually comes to this area, so we definitely encounter a lot more tourists here. I would say brand identity changed a little bit, but only growth.
With its outstanding growth created in the Brickell location, now HYPE is preparing to take its next leap as a brand, opening a second store in the heart of Miami's new retail and cultural hub, the Miami World Center.
Miami World Center is, I think, the next biggest spot in Miami in the next 3-5 years, is because there's a lot of new construction there. There are high rises going on every single corner. Everywhere you look, there's a crane. There is very prestigious tenants moving in there. You have Apple, you have Lululemon, you have Sephora. There's a bunch more moving in there that we can't announce.
Being in downtown, there'll definitely be more of the tourist scene. Like, a lot of people are still moving here, like so many people. So since we're kind of one of the first tenants there, it'll definitely be easier to connect with a lot of the businesses there. Obviously we have the Heat Arena there now, so I assume a lot of players that are gonna, come through, and we'll make connections with them as well. So it's definitely gonna be exciting for sure.
Bro, Miami World Center is nuts. Just the fact that we know what's to come for them in terms of the businesses that are growing around it and how close it is to, the Heat Stadium, and just the amount of foot traffic. I feel like foot traffic, no matter where you are, is just ideal, because someone may not know who you guys are, but if they walk across it and they see something that they like or something that catches their eyes, the sales just come to you and you don't have to do too much.
Miami World Center is the next step for HYPE for sure, because it's the most up and coming area in all of Miami, in my opinion. I think I see in Miami World Center what I've heard about what Brickell was, 5-10 years ago. At the end of the day, there's a lot of places that are affluent, a lot of places that are a good place to open for retail, but we want to associate ourselves with places that are on the rise, that have room for growth. And I think that's really the idea behind Miami World Center, is being somewhere that our business will grow with the general area itself. Everyone's heading to Miami in general. In the last few years, it's been mainly Brickell, it's been Coconut Grove, it's been those areas. A lot of money is headed into downtown. It's already in downtown. We have 15 massive residential buildings all in the vicinity of less than a mile of the World Center. Even the building that we're below on the first floor of Paramount itself is one of the most affluent buildings with our prime demographic of customer. Co-tenants as well, a lot of great co-tenants that we were excited to be a part of something together. It's cool to be able to, us being a small business and being very new to Miami, to be amongst all these other massive, billion-dollar corporations is very special. And I look at it this way: if a billion-dollar corporation's coming somewhere, they have a lot of thought into that, and success follows success. Yeah.
There's really nowhere to go for people that live downtown, and downtown is big. Downtown, it's probably 5 times the size of Brickell, and I think World Center, where it's positioned directly in the center, next to the Heat Arena, next to the Bayfront Park, I think once that all connects, that will be the next Brickell and bigger.
I definitely see a lot of charitable things happening to us for sure. Again, just building connections with other people in business, and even just the community as a whole. I grew up seeing that type of stuff, so I always enjoyed that as a kid, and I definitely want to connect with someone like a sneaker store, because I feel like a lot of stores don't necessarily do that.
Customers can expect a much greater customer experience in general. A lot of people love our store. They say it's different than most sneaker stores in terms of the layout, service they experience here, everything like that. But if I'm being completely honest, this is like not even close to our full potential for what we want to create. When I wanted to start a store, I wanted to create something that was unique, that was different than most stores in a mall with just, you know, regular shelves and sneakers on the wall. I wanted to give the experience of a high-end luxury store, like a designer store, with the products that we sell. And I think the Brickell store has been great so far, but we didn't necessarily have the time or funds to be able to create something to our maximum potential. And I think the Miami World Center is that. We had the time, we had, you know, the funds to allocate to that, to really create what we wanted to in terms of physical appearance, something unique, everything about it.
Build out is gonna be somewhat similar, but I was there yesterday and the store is looking amazing. I think we will also try to cater different inventory. We don't want to have two similar stores. We're going to try to do like different brands in different locations, at least in the beginning. I want to see how that works, because at the end of the day, both of our stores are pretty close together. I think it will be stressful, but super fun. With the new store coming, we have to double our employees. There's just a lot of like steps you have to take before and during that I find really fun.
The big thing that's been on my mind is the new employees. So I'm looking forward to work with the newer employees and just getting to know them. I don't know, I like meeting people a lot and working with them.
I would say I've learned a lot from obviously having a store in Brickell and Coconut Grove. The layout of the store in general, like physical layout of the store, there's a lot of things that we did now that we didn't do and we're not doing that we have done. There's a lot definitely that you learn with dealing with people on a daily basis, certain systems, whether it be POS, inventory systems, managing employees, also managing schedules. Obviously there's just so much stuff that goes into having a store, but yeah, I mean, I definitely took everything I've learned and experienced from this one store, put into the next, and it's gonna be even better.
I see the brand growing even more than we have been growing here, which is hard to think about because given that we're in Brickell and Brickell is the epicenter of all content creation and influencers, but I see a lot of people from Miami knowing more about us.
My goals for HYP over the next 2 years is to keep dominating South Florida, and eventually I would like to spread to different states. Maybe we'll do one in our hometown in Philly, maybe we'll go West Coast. You know, I'm not thinking that far ahead yet, but we do have a few goals, and the end goal is to go international. Like, I would love to be in a place like Tokyo or Dubai, or, you know, it doesn't matter. To be recognized on such a broad international level would just be like the final stamp for me.
I think there's a huge opportunity in the market that we are in, which is secondary market, sneakers and clothing. People don't realize how crucial stores like these are. A lot of people say that, you know, resale stores are culture vultures or resale stores, and they ruin the culture for everyone. But at the end of the day, stores like these, not just HYP, create culture. It brings people together. People come here with one common love of fashion, of creating your own identity with clothing, with sneakers, whatever. We also set the trends. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we basically just give the customers what they want. I don't think that the demand and popularity of all the stuff that we sell would be as big if it wasn't for stores like ours, if it wasn't for the curation of putting things like this together. It may seem overcomplicated. It may seem like you just throw a bunch of clothes together, sneakers together in a store, but there's a whole lot more to it. I think South Florida at the moment, a lot of opportunity of people moving here and spending money, and just to really grow the brand to something bigger than just a reseller, you know, having HYP become the gold standard here in Florida first, and eventually, you know, take over more.
I think with the second store, we are going to start pushing our brand more. We have our exclusive line dropping with the grand opening. At the end of the day, I always like repeat this on everyone that asks me like what I envision HYP to be. I want it to be like the next Kith. You know, people go there to buy inventory we have here or whatever they have, but they also go there to buy a Kith shirt or something Kith branded. I want that.
Kith is like my inspiration, Ronnie Feig, like everything that he's built, because he started the same way I did, literally flipping sneakers, flipping other people's brands, and eventually like people put value behind what he created and what culture he's created and what community he's created. And now the brand Kith has so much more impact than some of the brands that he used to sell, which is crazy.
I totally believe Marcus's and Yuri's vision about being the next Kith. I would say around 2, you know, being nationwide, having multiple stores, and being recognized by high-end retailers, and maybe being offered collaborations, yeah, all of that.
Am I excited for new store? Fuck yeah. I can't wait. If at the end of the day, something new, like a whole new store, is like, it almost brings back that excitement of when we first started, of like building it up from the ground, and yeah.
HYP isn't just a sneaker store. It's a symbol of relentless passion, grit, and community. From humble beginnings in Coconut Grove to the heart of Miami's culture at the World Center, HYP's journey reflects the dreams of those who dared to start young and think big. As the next chapter begins, one thing remains true. HYP isn't just about sneakers. It's about building a legacy one step at a time.